I still can't believe I was able to catch a showing of Iron Lung. It is currently snowing where I live, and I share a border with Florida. But come hell or high water, nothing was going to keep me from seeing Markiplier's new movie. It is a fully self-financed film directed by and starring him based on the indie game of the same name. It is probably one of the most ambitious transitions of YouTubers into cinema, and it is by all definitions a passion project, which piques my interest, especially in the era of brain rot and trying to implement AI into every form of entertainment. He went out and made a movie the old-fashioned way. The main thing everyone wants to know is if the movie is good. And while I can acknowledge this isn't going to be something everyone will love, I would recommend it. I also know Markiplier's been going to some of the premieres and asking people not to spoil it, so per his request, I'll try my best to honor it. Now, I imagine there will be a lot of people who will probably look at this and think the only draw is that it stars Markiplier, which is fair enough. I mean, how can you not be at least a little bit interested when it's got a face like this? But that's not to say the movie doesn't have an actual plot or compelling story. Speaking from the perspective of someone who went in raw and no rubber, you don't need a deep understanding of the game's lore in order to understand this film. That's actually one of the biggest compliments I can give, is how this movie doesn't insult your intelligence. It's able to convey the right amount of information without an over-explanation of things, so that audiences can piece the puzzle together themselves. It's certainly one of the better movies based on video games, and is something fans of Iron Lung will enjoy, as well as fans of eldritch horror content. Like, there's a wide genre of people who can appreciate this movie outside just fans of Markiplier. That being said, if you don't like Markiplier, then this film might not be for you, because he is on screen for the majority of it. So the plot revolves around Simon, played by Markiplier, who is trapped on a sub during an exploration set in a universe following a cosmic rapture, where 99% of humanity is gone, all habitable planets are missing, the stars are dead, and humanity is on the brink of extinction. So, in an effort to try and survive, they send a convict named Simon on a submarine called the Iron Lung down an ocean of blood on this very important mission, all for the sake of humanity's survival. Should he succeed, he'll earn his freedom, but the submarine was not built for the mission, and he ends up off course, surrounded by unknown anomalies, while slowly losing his mind. The entire movie takes place inside the Iron Lung, and it is built like a tank. It's equipped with some unusual gadgets, including a camera, which Simon must use to take pictures of what he finds down there. That's basically the Cliff Notes version of it, and it's a narrative I found to be captivating as the movie progressed, but make no mistake, it is a slow burn. This is actually something that seems to be shared across the board, but the first 20 to 30-ish minutes are very uneventful. Simon is basically doing chores while talking over an intercom to a woman who seems to be leading this project. And at times, it starts to drag. But all of this was necessary because by the end of the movie, you do care about Simon and the mission. Now, I want to get my biggest complaint out of the way after giving y'all a general synopsis. This movie has such a problem with its audio mixing. Because all the character interactions Simon has are through an intercom, the voices often get layered on top of each other. This especially becomes present towards the end of the film, where the main antagonist is speaking to Simon with all these filters on, which makes it f***ing impossible to understand what they're saying. This could be by design, but the way the audio is mixed, where at times it's supposed to convey important information, it's just inaudible. I don't think that was intentional, and I tried to Google an explanation in regards to the ending in particular, and it seems like there were a lot of people sharing the same sentiment. Like, I understand that's kind of the nature of eldritch horror, but here it felt more like a fever dream. Anyways, now that I summarized the plot and got my only complaints out of the way, it's time to start glazing this film. The majority of this movie focuses on Markiplier, and outside a couple flashbacks, the camera is only ever on him. Everything that happens, all the eldritch horror, it all revolves around Simon and his interactions with the world around him. Which means Markiplier is going to have some serious acting chops and do a lot of heavy lifting in order to sell this character. Basically, the movie falls back on the audience's ability to separate Markiplier from Simon, and if they can buy into Simon as a character rather than just Markiplier. There were some moments that were better than others, and based on what I saw from this and some of Markiplier's previous projects, he has the ability, he can act, but it takes time for him to really get into the character he's portraying. Once he's able to convey emotional beats, such as him arguing or the fear of uncertain death, it gets good. But when he's imparting from his past, it becomes hard to distinguish Simon from Markiplier, and that's not really because of his abilities as an actor. I think there were just moments where they didn't land how they wanted to based on what they were trying to convey. It just felt like during certain moments I was watching a Markiplier Let's Play as opposed to Simon having a conversation, for example. Luckily though, he was always able to rebound pretty quickly, and towards the end of the film especially is when his acting really starts to shine. So overall, I think he did do a great job at selling Simon as a character. His acting wasn't amazing or anything, it was good, but he's definitely someone who needs time to acclimate towards the characters he's portraying. What is amazing though are the visuals. Despite being a YouTuber financed film, the set design for the actual Iron Lung looks really good, as well as the cinematography on the big screen. They not only hide how small the budget is, but it highlights some of the film's best moments as Simon's sanity begins to deteriorate, as well as these moments of dread. There is some CGI used in this film, but it's not jarring. In fact, almost everything in this movie uses practical effects. The submarine is on a hydraulic system, and apparently they broke the film record for most fake blood used. They really went balls deep on the aesthetics for this movie. Also, despite my critiques about the audio mixing, the sound design for this movie was genuinely good. Like, all the eerie sounds and ambient noise used to build tension really help sell the stakes that are at hand. I thought they excelled at that, especially since this was like a huge praise fans of the game had, how the use of sound was very unnerving. It really showcased how dreadful it would be to be trapped in this fucking submarine surrounded by an ocean of blood with God knows what horrible creatures stalking you. Now, I would never call this a horror movie. It's more like a high-concept psychological film set in a sci-fi world. I don't think it's perfect or anything, but I do think it's a strong film overall. It stands on its own two legs and doesn't rely on big names or large fandoms in order to be entertaining. And that sentiment seems to be shared across the board, as the movie broke even within 24 hours of its release. So yeah, I just wanted to talk about this and share my thoughts on the movie. I would highly recommend y'all watching it for yourself. Just know this might not be something everyone will enjoy. But even if you don't know who Markiplier is, the fact is, he did make a solid film, and I'm really excited to see if he'll venture out like this in the future. It was a decent showcase of what he can bring to the film industry going forward. That's really about it. So,